wait to fill in the time between the leadership Thank you very much, Stephen. Stephen and I were such great friends, worked so hard together on many of these issues, and I hope that our colleagues in the House of Commons will continue, and I'm sure they will continue to do so. But one of the things you notice when you're outside the House of Commons quite quickly is how much of politics is overcomplicated. How much of it is weasel words and obfuscation and the avoidance of the actual issues. And the number of times I've watched interviews recently and I thought, why don't you ask the person being interviewed one simple question? Do you believe that Israel has a right to exist? Or do you not believe that Israel has a right to exist? Because it is a binary question. There is nothing in between. And it's time that we started getting from people the truth. What do you actually think? Because if Israel does have the right to exist, it has a right to defend its right to existence. And from that, many other things follow. Now, I, as Stephen said, have had the great honour of chairing the UK's Abraham Accords organisation for the past 3 years. And I honestly believe that it was the greatest achievement of the Trump administration to be able to bring countries together in a spirit of reconciliation. Incidentally, I believe that if Donald Trump had been a Democrat, he would have got a Nobel Peace Prize for doing it. Barack Obama could get a Peace Prize just for being the president. Donald Trump could get it for doing something. What has been tremendous about the Abraham Accords is how those countries, how the UAE, Morocco, Bahrain, asked themselves that question. Does Israel have the right to exist? And they answered yes. And that it was time for that reconciliation, it was time for that recognition. And there's been far too little about this in our media. Because we get all the bad news, we get all the criticism, but we never hear the positive developments that are happening, that hundreds of thousands of Israelis have visited Dubai and other parts of Bahrain and the UAE. We've not heard, as the Israeli ambassador to Abu Dhabi told me just a couple of days ago, about the tremendous increase in both trade and investment that is happening at the present time. Real developments, helping real people in real countries. We seem to be starved of this information in much of our media, and I do ask myself, why? And I think that we need, therefore, to propagate that information much more. Now, when I saw the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia on American TV saying, every day we get closer to a normalization of relations with Israel, the question in my mind was not, will Iran react to that, but how will Iran react to that? Will it be the Houthis? Will it be Hezbollah? Will it be Hamas? Well, we know the answer. It's all of them. Because the leadership of Iran does not believe that Israel has that right to exist. And they will use all means at their disposal to try to further that policy. And we need to understand what an existential battle this actually is. There is a powerful nation in the world, Iran, allied with Russia at the present time, who does not believe that Israel should exist at all. Now get that into your heads, because that is the question that underpins everything we are witnessing every day on our TVs today. That is why I say to all our leadership candidates, you have to go further, as we've heard already this evening, further than our last government, Conservative government, was willing to go, I have to say, with shame to some of us. If you don't realise that the IRGC are now a terrorist organisation willing to expunge Israel from the face of the earth, then you're not understanding the same news that I am. They are a terrorist organisation. The IRGC should be proscribed, and there should be no hesitation about it. And if the Foreign Office mandarins don't like it, find new mandarins, because we need a policy to exclude it. In a spirit of reconciliation, that our new government, with Reeves and Starmer, the most expensive dressing up dolls. The Ken and Barbie in the remake by Lord I do hope that they will find it within them to have the moral fibre to make these very tough decisions which will upset their own party much more than it would have upset the Conservative Party. And we, in the UK Abraham Accords, believe that we need to do things. We do not believe that peace is the natural state of the world. Peace has to be earned, peace has to be worked at, peace has to be created. We believe that the Abraham Accords is wonderful, but it's very top-down. And unless we can create benefits on the Arab street, so that young Arabs understand that the Abraham Accords mean something to them in terms of opportunity and prosperity and hope, it will not survive in the way that many of us want it to do. So we are working at the present time, for example, to create a startup fund so that young people in the region can come to us as a non-political, non-religious organisation and say, we've got an idea about our own future prosperity, can you help us do it? And we will say yes. And we need to have the courage and the vision to do that, because we in Britain should be playing a much bigger role as the nation that we are in the security and the prosperity of the Middle East, of the people of Israel and its neighbours. And if we have the courage to do that, our influence in the region will increase, I think, to the level that it ought to. We have stood back, we've been too passive for too long. We are not passengers in our own destiny or other people's destiny. We are active players. It's time we took that responsibility, accepted that role, and we played our part more actively for peace than sometimes we have in the recent past. And I look to the four candidates to deliver that for us.